Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Growing Your Dental Business podcast. My name is Jacqueline Hurley. I am the director of Dental Zing, which is the educational platform for both eAssist Dental Solutions and Dr. Charles Blair's Practice Booster. Our goal is to offer tips and tricks to help dentists grow their business. And today I have Marie DePalma, who provides fractional training for independent practices and emerging DSOs. She is extremely organized and helps dentists improve productivity and profitability through optimizing policies, procedures, and training. One thing I know about Marie is she is extremely educated and she has so many titles, I couldn't even list them all. But her focus is helping young dentists and DSOs with optimizing their policies. This is huge when it comes to their procedures, how they take care of their patients. So the goal is to boost patient care, help with productivity and profitability. She lives in the suburbs of Boston and is passionate about oral health care, beginning with being a dental hygienist. And then she expanded from there with her knowledge into artificial intelligence and cybersecurity. She worked for a company as technology advisor for many years, and I met her last year when she was working for an AI company in dentistry. Marie, I'm so excited to welcome you today. I took a look at your LinkedIn, and you have 64 endorsements when it comes to practice management and 56 endorsements when it comes to public speaking. So I'm really excited to get your course on artificial intelligence and cybersecurity for dentists on Dental Zing. Welcome to our podcast today.
Thank you, Jacqueline. It's a pleasure to be part of this conversation and to be part of Dental Zing. Thank you for the opportunity. And yes, I am a hygienist and I've been practicing for way too many years. I practiced actually clinically for about 25 years in general and perio practices. And over the course of that, I ended up in education. And when I was in clinical practice, the main focus of what I was doing in practice was education. I loved educating the team and educating the patients about oral health. Like you said, I'm passionate about oral health. Um, and through my experiences in practice, I ended up developing TMJ and TMD. And unfortunately, I have gone through the whole gamut of treatments, all sorts of appliances and physical therapy and injections, and ultimately having surgery. And when I had surgery and going through the whole course of my journey, I was looking for something to help me understand what was going on. But I was having so much difficulty doing that. And as a hygienist, if I was having difficulty, then what about the average patient? What about that average person who was experiencing what I was experiencing? So I researched it and developed a program on it. And we ended up having support group and talking with all sorts of different patients and professionals. So all of my courses from that TMD course have actually evolved from all of that for all dental team members, dentists, hygienists, assistants, the business team, because we all need to know about some of the basics of what patients are presenting with. Not only TMD, but I also talk about recognizing developmental delays in children, the cybersecurity and AI course that we're going to be talking about later, and just some practice management things, as well as some specifically hygiene related things. So it covers everything. And with teams, we all need to be on the same page. And that focuses in on where I go with the fractional training. It's all about the team.
I love that. You really have a lot of experience in so many areas. It sounds like from being the patient side as well as the clinical side. You have so much experience to bring to the table, which really is what the goal is when it comes to a practitioner trying to offer systems in place for their team as well as patient care, right?
Right. It's all about getting everyone on the same page. I've been involved in practices that, one person knows one thing, someone else knows something else, but they're doing two different things, and the patient gets so confused. They don't know who to trust. And there's a huge issue with trust for patients now more than ever.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. So it sounds like that is one challenge. Everyone is on a different page. What are some of the other challenges that teams face when it comes to you helping them get all on the same page?
Communication. Unfortunately, it starts with the leader. So it's the dentist or the owner that's the communication stems from. And from there, right down. I've been involved in practices where the owner and the owner dentist or the COO or the CFO never really talked to the rest of the team. They thought the team knew everything, but they didn't, and it would be piecemeal that they would get all of the information. But that's where a lot of the problems stem from, and then you start having and gossiping and backstabbing and people not understanding what their roles are. If you don't have a good leader who communicates effectively, then you're in trouble. And unfortunately, sometimes dental professionals, dentists particularly, can be conflict avoidance or confrontational avoidance. So they don't want to step on anyone's toes, so to speak, and bring about the issues. Having someone come in and document things, we know in dentistry that document is so important. If you don't document, it wasn't done. So having an outside voice come in and documenting all of those things is so important. It brings it to the next level.
That's great. So it sounds like documenting is one of the ways that you can overcome basically the communication issue, apparently, of course, and then the team not being all on the same page. So that gets them all to the same page because now you have a manual in place for all of those processes. So is there a one size training for all teams?
No, no, every practice is different. So when I start working with an office, it's going to be asking the questions. Where do they want to go? What are their ultimate goals? Why do they want to do this? Why are they talking to me and not someone else? What Just ask the questions and then from there come up with a customizable plan, whether that be just looking at their software and figuring out the best ways of handling that, or looking at documentation for a manual for their practice, rules and regulations sort of type of thing. Um, a lot of offices have that OSHA or HIPAA binder, but it's not specific to their practice, which is what it needs to be. And they just don't have time to do that because there's so many things involved in today's dental practice that they just don't have time to keep up with all of it.
For sure. So you go in and you really customize everything drilled down to that particular practice or DSO or whatever is happening. You really take the deep dive into to what's going on in their practice in order to come up with the manual and with the policies and procedures. And I'm sure you work with the dentist in all of that.
True. Yes. Without the dentist owner, you can't go anywhere. So yes, it's a collaboration. And then
Yeah.
I also work with the team because, you may have those negative Nellies. The inner 2-year-old comes out. Why are we going to do this type of thing? So you have to work with them and figure out what their objections are. Why don't they want to do something? Is it because they're afraid they're going to lose their job or they're afraid of technology or whatever it may be? Just like when we're talking with our patients and they give us false acceptance, they say, yes, 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 I'll be there for my appointment. But then the day or day before the appointment, they cancel and your schedule bombs out. That's something called false acceptance because they really didn't understand why they needed the treatment. So something comes up. It's a beautiful summer day. I don't feel like going to the dentist. I'm not going to go because I don't understand the why behind what I'm doing.
So you teach that, you teach the why, and they know exactly what to say and in every situation for each patient.
Yeah.
So let's go back to the team member for a minute. What if a team member what if they all have different learning styles? Like you have this all written down in a manual. Do you also offer hands-on, or how do you work with all of that with their different learning styles?
Whatever the team needs. So if someone needs to be hands-on, great. If someone reads, perfect. If someone needs to watch a video, great. I'm a learner that I could read something and watch something, but until I physically do it, I don't get it. So, whatever that particular team member needs. Now, it could be across the board. Everybody's going to be reading or everybody's going to be watching videos. It just depends on what the individual team member needs. Yep. So we cover all of it.
So do you include kind of a new team member process as well? So if you get a new team member in, you can just bring them up to speed with, whatever it is to get them, step by step up to speed with the rest of the team?
Exactly. I created a manual for a practice where that's exactly what we did. They have a constant flow of new team members, whether that be business team or clinical team members. So they need to understand the software or the business practices, how to even answer the phone. What's the best way of doing that in this practice? A lot of times, business team members are thrown at the front desk and they don't even know how to answer the phone, which buttons to push, or is it voice over internet phone, or is it, what's our basic fees, so getting all of that documented makes all of the new hire process much better.
That's perfect. I think that's so much easier. I know any job I've ever taken, if they hand me a manual and you could read through everything first just to kind of get a feel, but then like you said, if there's videos, I think most people are hands-on learners, don't you? I feel like
Yeah.
most people, that is most people's learning style, unless for some reason you have a really high IQ and you just can remember everything, a photographic memory, and can remember everything you read. Um,
No way.
I think more people are hands-on, and you have a tendency to really learn and remember things if it's a more of a hands-on learning. So what if a team member comes from another practice and they're kind of set in their ways and you're trying to bring them to the new policies and procedures of a new practice? How would you handle that?
So again, first of all, asking the questions. What did they do in the old office and why did they do it in the old office? Did Janie tell them to do it and that's the way they always did it? Or, was there a written protocol? And being part of this new practice, this is the way the dentist or the dentist owner wants it to be done. So, what are your concerns about doing it like this? Why? Getting back to that question, why? What's the why behind whatever we're doing?
I love that. I think that is phenomenal. Well, I'm really excited for you to be in the dental industry, first of all, Anne Marie, and for the opportunity that you give these young dentists to really get systems and procedures and processes in place so that they can really run their practice, like a business owner, and they just like a really strong functioning business that's creating a strong functional team as well. So let's just talk about you for a minute. What motivates you in helping consultants, or I guess helping dental professionals in the industry? What motivates you to keep helping them?
Educating them, seeing that light bulb moment. Oh, I didn't know that coming. That, like I said, that's always been a passion. Even in clinical, education was so important to me. That was better to me than doing the scaling. Or when I was in the periodontal practices, I was assisting, and learning that whole side of the business, as well as learning some of the front. So I've had total clinical and business experience along the way, and understanding how the business of the practice works, or understanding that it's not just productivity. Yes, productivity is important. We need to produce as clinical team members, as administrative team members, but yet, where does that go? it's all about the patient. Whatever we're doing is about the patient. So being productive actually helps the patient. And it's not pushing production, it's helping the patient understand their disease and or health and maintaining that along the way. So between the education of the dental professional as well as educating the patient, that's part of my passion, and that's where all of my credentials, so to speak, have come from. It's because I always want to learn. I'm a CE junkie, if you want to call it, always learning.
Well, I love that. I feel like that you've set such a great example on the educational side that response was not a shock to me when you said education. Because I just feel like there's so much educating in dentistry in general. Everyone needs to keep up with their credentials. Everyone needs to keep up with their certified education. And that's another thing. So I'm excited again for you to bring your course on artificial intelligence to Dental Zing, which is an online educational platform where we will offer your courses for certified education there. Before I share with the audience the best way to get in touch with you, do you have any parting thoughts before we wrap up today?
Not really, just, keep educating yourself, whether it's through me or a Dental Zing or any of the other opportunities that we have available to us as dental professionals, because whatever we do to keep our education up, whether that be, the business team member or the assistant, it ultimately helps the patients. Yes, it helps the practice improve productivity and profitability. But like I said, it's ultimately about the patient. The patient is the number one priority in any practice.
Of course it is. I think that is perfect. So if you are a dental professional and you're kind of new in dentistry and you've not had a chance to sit down and write out all of your policies and procedures or figure out kind of a training program for new team members, and you would like to customize some training and create a manual for your team, you can reach out to Anne Marie, as well as if you're a part of a study club or anything where you would like to bring certified education to your group. She also is available to offer certified education classes around everything that we've talked about today. She would love to help you. Her contact information is annmariedepalma@gmail.com. It's Ann, ANNMARIE, DePalma, DEPALMA @gmail.com. Or she said you can reach out to her through LinkedIn as well. She's very active on LinkedIn. So thank you, Anne Marie. The bottom line for me is the ultimate goal is to increase patient care that is consistent for every patient, right? And so in order to be more productive and profitable, a practice that is putting systems in place can really make a difference when it comes to all of these goals. And thank you for joining us today. We're excited to have Anne Marie on our podcast, and we will see you next time.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.